My name is Ben Hilliard. Today I'd love to show you how we assemble our insert for Robinson Crusoe. We're so grateful that Portal has made such a great game. Ignacy is brilliant. Hopefully you enjoy this insert, and I promise that it doesn't look as daunting as it may seem at first glance. So you'll receive a package very similar to this. Hopefully in the future we'll make it a little bit better. Maybe have trays with all the pieces locked in place. But in the current state, this is what you'll receive. So what you want to do is just open it up. Dump it out. Make sure that you have all the pieces out of the bag. And then pull out this piece right here. Now you see we've taped it up, and that is because inside here there are two fairly fragile pieces we didn't want to have break on you. So what you want to do is take off this blue tape. Be careful though, because there is varnish on the wood, and if you take off the tape really quickly, you can pull off some of that varnish. But if you go slow and you're careful, you should be fine. Also, however, if you end up taking some varnish off, it's not the end of the world. Just use that side, the side that had the varnish ripped off on the bottom, and you'll actually see this plate here with all the holes. We in fact did tape the bottom side for you. Perfect, there you have it. And those are the pieces we wanted to protect. So your first step, as always, is to separate everything out into its piles. So after you've been able to separate everything out, what you want to do is let's just start with letter A. So pull over the pieces for letter A. Also, just a note, if you find that you think you're missing something, go through and assemble as much as you can, because oftentimes what will happen is, due to the fact that these letters are so small, and also depending on how tightly focused our laser was, sometimes these letters are difficult to read, and I apologize for that. But oftentimes you'll put it in the wrong pile, think you're missing something, and find out later that you actually weren't. So one thing that I do now is we've changed the type of glue we use, and we now use this Beacon 527 glue. We buy it at Hobby Lobby. But basically what it does is it's a little bit stronger than the super glue we've used in the past. There's also a little bit more flexibility in it, but it seems to work quite well. We also use the blue painter's tape. If you've watched any of these other videos, this isn't new to you, but we like the blue painter's tape due to the fact that it has a fairly low adhesive level, which protects the pieces and the finish on the insert. Now, to use this 527 glue, I usually like to use a little sandwich baggie. To help, what I do is I fill this sandwich baggie, just the corner of it, with some of the glue. I then snip off the end of the baggie, kind of like a cake icing bag. And it just helps you kind of control the flow of the glue a lot better than the wide tip end on this particular container. So we'll toss that aside, and we'll start here with section A. Now the easiest part to start with is this side piece. Okay, you'll find that there are these two pieces here. Okay, you'll want to flip them so that they are away on the opposite end of the etched words. You'll then make sure they're lining up nicely for you. Okay, you'll find these tabs. Make sure they line up nice as well. Okay, there's this other tab and this tab. Now there is a tab here that has a nice big circle and one that has a nice shallow circle. You're going to want the shallow circle right up front. That's because you don't want to be able to see what the front token is while you're playing. This gives you the ability to pull that token out, but also hides it so that this tray will be used during gameplay. So after we've figured out what where the different pieces go, we're going to start gluing them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece here, glue on this tab. You're going to hit all the different tabs here. All the way across, set that down, grab this other piece. Now the reason I lay it out first is it helps me also know which side of the piece to glue. Wonderful. Now the front pieces. Now just gluing the tabs is enough, but if you like to make sure that your insert will be secure for quite a while, you can also then take this base plate and glue in between the different holes. And that'll give you just that much more protection and strength. Then just kind of insert everything here. Pull that up, slide it in place. Excellent. And then the back plate as well. Take some tape. You don't need a lot of tape here. Just a few small pieces. I like to set it up on its side here. And tape it down. You'll also want to make sure you tape it down to the base. Now one thing that's important is to make sure when you are taping that all of your joints and your seams are nice and snug. So pulling everything together and then taping it down. This will help you be a little bit more satisfied, and it'll also look a lot better once your insert's fully assembled. The better you can be about making sure all of your joints are nice and snug, like I said, the more satisfied you'll be, and the insert will look a lot better. You can also take a Q-tip and run a Q-tip along the inside of the insert, and this will help give you a nice clean edge. This tab then is meant to be able to be moved, so if you place it right there, it'll hold just enough space there to hold all of the different circled chits for the discovery tokens in the base game. As they continue to release expansions, you'll then be able to hold more and more. You'll also then, as you use them during the game, you could progress this forward if you like to make sure you also keep your tension on them so they don't fall over inside there. So the next side is we're going to take and we're going to fill in this hexagonal piece. Now the best way to do it is again lay it all out. Okay, this horseshoe looking piece will be our back plate. These two pieces here will sit with their tabs forward, just like so. And then these, being our last pieces, will sit right there. Now the best way to do this is to take your glue and apply it on these small delicate pieces in between each of these bumps, each of these tabs. Then take your middle, the big piece here, picking which side you like facing out, attach it right there in the center, making sure you figure out, okay, how do I want this situated? And I actually put that on, so we're going to flip these. I put it on the wrong side. That's what I get for hurrying. Okay. Now the key here is you'll see I'm going to push it. I'm I'm going to slide it into that gap and then line it up with the tabs and then spin it around, sliding it in nice and snug. Again, all that excess you can either wipe off with a rag or a Q-tip. And then this back plate as well. Same process, sliding it in and then turning it over. Actually, it didn't work that well. So just straight across, there we go. So on that one, start out and pull it in. You'll then just kind of set that there, not inside the holes yet. We'll do that in a second. Again, glue the inside of this. We'll flip that so it's lining up nice. We'll then take this outside piece, put it in its spot, again in, maybe we'll try out again, there we go, and then also there. I'm then going to flip it upside down and we're going to glue on the bottom of these tabs. Every once in a while you're going to have to slide the glue out as well to get it to the tip. You're then just going to glue on the bottoms of the parts that will be touching the plate. So not on the tops of the tabs, but on the lower pieces. I got a little too much glue there. Pick it up very carefully. You'll also want to do this quite quickly. That way your glue doesn't dry too much as you're moving it around. You'll then just slide it into its places, into its different holes, and it'll sit nice for you. Again, Q-tip or a cloth. Get any of the excess glue that's in the center here. Wonderful. Flip it upside down, and the best way I found to tape this is just to kind of tape on the bottom of these tabs here and just kind of use your fingernail and work them down. It gives just a little bit of support on the bottom, not a lot, but just enough to hold it in there nice. Flip it back over. Now the joints we're concerned about are these top ones. So we're going to just hold it nice and fast, squeeze it so it's nice and taut, then push it down. And if you're concerned about its strength over time, you can always tape even more than this, so that everything holds nice and fast while it's drying. And there you have it, Section A. Section B. So again, the best thing you can do is just lay it all out. Okay, see what pieces you do have. Those will sit there. That will sit, it'll flip right up in the center there. looks like I missed a piece. There we go. There it is. I put it in the D pile. So if you're missing that piece, look in D. So these will sit slanted inside there with this piece being on the top. So best place to start with this is this center piece. So what you'll want to do is take these, glue the bottoms. You can just slide them in place there. Grab this guy here, this piece with the two holes in the center. Put it in its tab, then you can pull it forward, which will rock these pieces up, and then slide them back in. It looks like I got a lot of glue on that one. Make sure you always wipe off the excess glue. It will dry quickly. Wonderful. Now the next pieces we're going to glue are these side pieces. You want to put a dot glue on top there and on bottom, and then across, so you see this notch comes down and moves over. You're going to put the glue right down here all the way until you get to the top of that angle, that 45-degree angle. Then from this straight down towards it. So it's kind of a dot dot glue, then 45 all the way straight up across there on top of that hole as well, and the tabs. And just the top of this tab, you don't have to go all the way to the bottom. Now this one's a little tricky. You want to put one tab on, then take this piece here with the notch facing up and slide it right into that hole. Now it's not going to want to stay there very long, so you need to now quickly, it's kind of a timed event, glue the same way we did on this one on this guy. So again, bottom, top, oops, straight across until you hit this, the wood 45-degree angle there, up, and on top there. Now, holding all of this together, you'll put that in place, and that'll then hold this post in place as well. At this point, we usually glue the whole thing and then tape it. At this point, you're going to want to tape this. I'm just wiping off some excess glue. I'm just going to put one piece right across there, and that'll hold the whole thing together nicely. I'm now going to take and I'm going to glue, looks like I'm going to have to fill my bag here soon, on the top of that, on top of the two holes in the center, and then on the tabs as well. And if you want, actually come in here and hit those tabs again, just to make sure it hasn't dried on you. And then slide that right on the end. Wonderful, just like that. And tape. So now we'll do the other side here. Okay, now this piece here, Just going to again glue. Oh my god. My glue is gummed up. Just on the sides of those holes again. So not on the bottom. No wood will be touching there. Just on the sides of the holes and the tabs. And it'll just slide on there. Now you'll see I've got these little bumps. These bumps are going to be facing in. And they are there to hold in a tray that will sit on top of this in the box. So I'm going to hit just some glue on both sides of the holes again, up on the tabs, and into place, preferably not dropping it. Right there. And then again, there. I'm going to be lazy and just put a big piece of tape. There you are, section B. Now section C. Now section C I'm not going to put together for you because it is fairly self-explanatory, I hope. But basically it's the same thing. Okay, line everything up. You're then going to glue here, both sides of those holes and the tabs. Same thing, holes, tabs, and so forth. Glue it up, tape it together. Now section D. Now section D, what you have to be careful of, and this is the only part that's really tricky, is you have a lot of identical pieces. That one's not too good, we'll put that down. And you have some pieces that are not identical. Okay, so each piece, it'll make two different trays. Okay, each tray is going to need two of those. Those are all identical. But you see, for example here, this one has a tab on the top, this one doesn't. So you're going to want to just start matching all of these different pieces up in their different stacks. Those two pieces are identical, one each. These four pieces are all identical, two each. Now, these two pieces have a tab on the top, and these two pieces do not. So, what you do is you take this little piece here that has the tab and match it up with the pieces that have the tab as well. And you'll make a stack for those, and these that are flat on both sides, and a stack for those. Okay? You'll then assemble them. The assembly will be identical for both. As you can probably see, these pieces will go in the center here, and you actually don't even need to glue these, because that will then ride right in the center there, creating 6 different compartments for your discs. These pieces will then be on the sides here at a 45-degree angle. Just remember to put that notch up. Your side pieces, looking at them and finding the side you like the best and putting it out. And then these are your end pieces with the tab facing up. The assembly on these will be the exact same as we did with assembling this angled piece with section B. So I'll let you then assemble those and we'll move on. And you'll do the same for the other tray for D. Now, E, F, G, and H are all also very, very similar. The only difference, again, is the fact that they do lock into place on some of them. So you'll just need to make sure you watch those tabs, and I'll hurry and just show you how those work. E, on the other hand, though, are two identical trays. Now, for some of you, if you got one of our earlier inserts, you actually have a little bit different setup. You have 4 identicals like F versus these 2 plus 2 Fs. So if it's a little different, you can email me and I'll be able to walk you through it, the setup, if you have any questions. But you shouldn't have any. It's fairly simple, just like these trays are here. Okay, you'll lay these all out, making sure you have all your pieces that you need. Looks like I've got a piece that got put out of place. It was an F. Okay, these you just glue on the bottom of or on the side of each of these holes. It'll then attach, so on and so forth, gluing all the different tabs and underneath, and it creates these boxes. Excuse me. And it'll make 2 identical boxes just like this. These, as you can see, are the mystery cards. So we'll move on now to F. F and G again are the same. Remember, match up your pieces that are identical. I just like to stack them up. It just helps me visually orient all the different pieces before I move them over to their different piles. You can see here this one has a notch in the bottom, this one has a notch in the top. These 2 trays will sit on top of each other. So I'll take 2 pieces with notches on the bottom and I will place them over here, and these pieces with notches on the top and I'll place them over here. Now this piece here with the notch on the top, it will go over here with the notch on the top, and these 4 pieces with the flat top and the flat top will hit over here. Okay, they will create the different boxes just like in section D, or E, I mean. G is the exact same thing as well. It'll create 2 boxes, match everything up, all the identical pieces together. You should have two sides per, and 4 smaller sides per. And they'll create 2 boxes as well that will stack on top of each other. H actually will create 4 different trays. Now, if you're using the Beagle expansion, you actually won't use 2 of these trays. You can just, keep them for other games if you like, or toss them. They won't be of any real use to you because you cannot put these in the box plus the Beagle book, sadly, because Z-Man used a spiral binding, which adds a little bit more depth to the book, which I did not account for. Though you still will have plenty of room for everything to fit in the box with the insert and the Voyage of the Beagle expansion. So once again, you're setting up these 2 per stack, and then making stacks of these smaller sides as well, with 4 each. Now the only trick here is making sure you match everything up correctly, and this is a little bit different due only in part to the fact that they need to lock and sit a little bit differently than the other insert. On the other card holders, the flat top went with the flat top. On this one, that's not so. The flat topped side pieces will actually sit and go with the piece with the indented top. The pieces that have just the prongs on the bottom, like these, will then match up with the piece that has the flat top. And thus, when you build the box, they will seat together just like that. So, these would go here for that particular box. These would go here for that particular box. And repeating again with the other duplicate set. And you'll set them up just like the other card trays. As you can see, I has quite a bit of things to it. I holds all of our different chits that either are used in different scenarios or used for different types of markers within the game. So what you will see on this tray is all of the different symbols are etched in or cut out depending on your particular piece and what worked best for the type of the stain job that happened on your piece of wood. But you will notice that there are little letters etched into each of these different sections on this board. Those will correspond to the second letter on these pieces here. You will find that these notches, for the most part, will go on the opposite side or down from where the symbol is, because all the notch trays will be, the pieces will be held in the bottom section here. So this piece, for example, is an L. So we'll find the L and we will set it right inside there. You'll then go through each of these different pieces. Here's the O. Looking at them very carefully, identifying where their letter is in correspondence to the different tray, and placing them in their spots. Excellent. After you've done that, the next thing you're going to want to do is set out these different pieces here. Now you'll notice that these first 4 columns are quite a bit thinner than these others because the size of the chit is different. So what you'll find is this divider will sit just like that. Okay, this divider will sit right there. And that's the wider 3, shorter, the narrower, the distance between that prong and that prong is narrower on this one than it is on this particular one. If that makes sense. This guy will sit here, and you'll find that these will match up. Okay, anytime you have a slot in one of these pieces that goes all the way to the ground, that will match up, and this guy will then be able to slide right up inside there. You'll find these narrow ones. You will find you'll have an extra one of those. That way, just in case it does break on you in transit or in assembly, you will have an extra without having to email us and ask for a replacement. And then those 2 will sit there. So we're now ready to put this all together. So what you're going to want to do is we'll start from your left to right. Take this first piece and you'll plug it in. Okay? Holding it with one hand, you'll then take the next piece, sliding it in place, and the next piece, sliding it also in place, And then taking your next piece also and putting it in the front hole of this particular insert or piece. Pushing that all in nice and snug. Excellent. You'll now take your next piece, matching up which hole, so your second hole plus another narrow one. Guess I lied. I guess you don't have an extra piece. You will then, holding them in place with one hand, you'll then guide and match them up in this piece that's already in place and then set it down inside the tray. You'll always work from one end and go to the other side, because you'll match up the pieces and then holding them placed here, you'll then match them up on the piece that's already in the insert and then work the tab of this other piece down inside. I hope that makes sense. Again, matching it into place, tilting it like so, inserting it in, and then matching up the tab here on the bottom. And what this does is it helps you so you don't have to try and get both of these in at the same time. Pick up your next piece. Again, this is a slotted piece all the way down, sliding that in, matching it into the hole. You'll want to take those pieces down. Matching it in place and down. You'll want to then pull this up a little bit, slide that in place, and then insert that. And then for the last one, slide that, insert, then line up, push down. The key is don't force any of those tabs into their slots. Also, you notice I didn't glue anything. That's just fine. We're going to glue everything else around it, which will lock all those in place. I'm just checking right now to make sure I don't have any bare open holes. So I didn't miss any of the dividers. Looks like we're good. And there you have it. Now, the next is you're going to take these two fairly delicate pieces, and you'll notice that there are wider gaps and shorter gaps on both ends. You're going to match those up, and you'll see that these are actually identical pieces. So if you flip them this way, matching them with the narrow slots and the narrow slots, you'll place one on the front and one on the back. This is where I like to lock them in together, just like that. And now I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to come and I'm going to glue, and I'm just going to make a bead of a line all the way down the insert. That will glue the tab on the base plate plus the tab on this loop-de piece on the front. Okay, it'll glue both tabs nicely. Again, remember, don't overglue. Wonderful. Now I'm going to come back across the top, and I'm just going to put a drop of glue on the top of each of these holes. Just a drop, not all the way to the top, but just enough. I'm then going to come back. You could have actually done it before, but do a drop on the bottom. It actually probably would help to do both at once. Bottom, top, all the way across. fold it up, and again, use the same, or use a technique where you're trying to do one side first, and then as you go across, keeping consistent pressure on the front of these, kind of like a zipper, move it across. Lining everything up, being careful, don't force it. Just move these tabs until it slides into place, and then there you go. Once again, I'm going to line this up, glue a nice line across. Bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. Folding it up once again. This one will be easier, I think, just because the other side is already in place. I'm just snapping them all into place. There we have it. Now at this point, if you'd like, you can flip it upside down and quickly tape the bottom and the fronts together. There you have it. If you want, you can then even send one right over the top. That'll kind of give some pressure from the other side, holding the tops together. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take these end pieces and we're going to glue them on. Just note that this one, they're not identical. One doesn't have a hole in between these two holes, one does. The one that does is going to be on this side. We're then going to just glue on the top of the hole there, and there, in between, and even on the top and bottom of that little hole inside. We'll then pick the whole thing up, line it all up, snap it into place. And then, like I always say, wipe off the excess, because I sure had too much glue on there. And the same on the other side. And tape on the ends. For this, I like actually quite a bit of tape. I flip it up on its end, taping it down, and using the length of the tape to give me a nice strong pull and support on that end piece. Flip it over and do the same to the other side. Wonderful. Now at this point you can take your lid and place it on. Now the key with the lid is understanding how it goes on. Okay? You put it in with this top piece, the top of it first, sliding it in there. After it's all the way up, you can then push the front down, and then the whole thing slides forward. What this does is it locks in all the chits. So now you can flip your box on its, you can store it vertically, horizontally, and it'll hold everything in place. And there you have it, section I. Last but not least, section J. So once again, just lay it all out, see what you got. See, that doesn't match up. Flip it around. And lay yours out just like this as well. And there you have it. And those are the different tabs for the center. So the way I like to assemble this insert is I take my glue and I draw a line, again hitting these tabs all the way across. I then take and I just hit the tops of each of these tabs and slide them in place. So just that piece right there. Again, wiping off any excess glue. And rocking it down. Then rocking it back. Just helps match everything up nicely. I'm then going to take my glue, hopefully I don't run out here again. That should be good. And I take and I just do a dot on the ends. On the 45-degree side of it, and then also on the tops. So just this side of that tab. And then last but not least, right there. Now the reason I do this last down here, even though it's kind of a little uncomfortable as I have to reach around all my wet glue, is I want that to be as fresh as possible. I'm then going to take this piece, flip it around, and it will attach right there. Once again, I'm going to start from one side, adding pressure, and then coming across kind of like a zipper and lining everything else up. This method just gives you support all the way across, and you don't ever have to redo what you did in the past. In this one, again, this piece just slides right on all those little prongs on the front, and there you have it. Now, one thing you're going to want to do just innately is tape it at this time. I highly, extremely encourage you not to do that, only because it would be easy to tape it a little bit off square. So what I found works a little bit better is if you just take your end pieces, hurry and glue them up, and you'll see I just glued it here on both sides of that 45-degree hole, and then on the tab, tab, tab. Pick it up, making sure you hold the back plate as well, and just line that guy up. Being careful not to push too hard, don't force it, because this can be a little bit of a tricky guy. I had to pull that one out a little bit to line it up nice, removing any excess glue you may have had there. And now after you have that, squaring everything up so it fits nicely, hurrying and doing the other side before everything dries on you, the glue. Making sure you line up your piece so you know you're gluing the correct side of the piece. Again, making sure you line everything up, slowly move pieces until it snaps into place. Don't force, don't hit, don't go get the hammer. It will slide into place eventually if you're patient. Now, holding it nice and snug, I like to use the table as well to help me square everything up. Now I'm ready to tape it all together. So I use one piece right across the top here and down and around. Another piece across the front, side, and back. Across the front, side, and back. Now, all we have left is those two end pieces on that bottom plate. And there you have it. Section J. Now to help lay this all out, there is a layout guide online, but to just give you somewhat of an idea, sorry I don't have Robinson Crusoe here with me. I'm actually borrowing my buddy's copy and he has taken it back. But basically this will go if the box sits, maybe I can tape out a box here. So one corner of the box sits like that. And this is for Z-Man Games box, which is longer and more shallow than the other. You'll take that piece there. That will then sit there. You will then take the trays that stack on top of each other. So this particular tray will then have its counterpart stacked on top of it. The other trays that stack on top of each other will sit there. So this is 4 different trays. This piece will sit here, and I've been told by many of our customers that they actually prefer only using one of these. So what they do is they take the discs that come in and that represent the people, and they put them in horizontally or vertically and stack them in. You can fit all the discs in just this one tray, and they toss out that other tray to give them more space. Thus, then the book can sit right here. If you don't like that, you can then keep it. This tray here that will hold the plastic blue, black, and white cubes sits there with the Friday Dog inventory tokens or adventure tokens, and the miscellaneous other tokens, the chits, the other things, will sit on top of that, fitting right there. These big, complete, full stack of card trays will sit there and also here. Now, for the sake of future expansions and development and room in the box, there are gaps in this box. Again, those are intentional, hopefully for future expansions that Ignacy has planned. Your other little trays will be able to then sit here and here. And like I said earlier, if you're looking to use the Voyage of the Beagle, you'll only want to use the 2 trays. Okay, that way the book can still sit here, or you can slide them vertically and they should fit inside here and here. If not, what you can do is you can take the trays that then stack on top of each other and they will sit too high right on top of that chit tray. And those will hold your mini cards. But that is how it then lays out in the box. Again, if you have any questions, please refer to the layout guide that's on our website. You can find that by going to Products, going to Inserts, going to Robinson Crusoe. At the bottom of Robinson Crusoe, there's multiple tabs. There's videos there. There's a number of different things. One of them is Assembly and Layout, and there you'll be able to find a PDF of the layout of the Robinson Crusoe insert and how it fits in the box. Thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or you're missing parts for any reason, feel free to email me. My email that's best to reach me at is info@daedalusproductionsinc.com. And remember, Daedalus is spelled Daedalus. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy Robinson Crusoe, and I also hope you enjoy it with our insert, which has been created to be compatible with Ignacie's and Portal's game of Robinson Crusoe. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy it. Bye-bye.